Let me put where we're in a context very briefly before we get to discussing some of the issues. Why is there a shutdown? For the first time that anyone can remember, what the Republicans are saying, we're not talking. It's our way or the highway. Take it or leave it. That's it. No discussion. And one of the key issues out there, what they don't want to talk about, is that if we were to just tomorrow go along with the Republican proposal, this is what happens to you. 15 million of you are going to lose your health insurance. Tens of thousands will die because they can't get to a doctor, can't afford prescription drugs. That's not all. Under what the Republicans are pushing, over 20 million people will see their health insurance premiums double. Yeah, you heard that right. Double. You're already paying by far the highest prices in the world for healthcare. Well, think about it, doubling of premiums, what that means.
So a plan that cost $641 right now will now go to $1,762 per month. That's almost 3 times. That's the impact of what they're doing.
You know, these cuts, they're going to hurt folks who voted for Trump. They're going to hurt folks who didn't vote for him. Mm-hmm. This is all about suffering that's going to be inflicted on families.
All we're saying is, come to the table. Let's talk.
Yeah.
We have a crisis coming up on November 1st. You got 2 weeks to show up here, please, so we can talk to you. Otherwise, we're going to be in a full-blown healthcare catastrophe.
We got a president who does not believe in the Constitution of the United States, does not believe in the rule of law.
Right.
He today announced, insanely, he wants to arrest the governor of Illinois and the mayor of the city of Chicago. He is targeting one of our own colleagues, Senator Schiff.
What he's doing is just raising the price for people to speak out against him.
Right.
If you speak out against him on TV, you'll get your show canceled. If you speak out against him in Congress, you're going to go to jail. If you speak out against him on a city street, well, the military is going to show up with tear gas and with helicopters.
This is a red line. The idea of troops being sent in against American citizens peacefully protesting, this could secure the type of authoritarian state Trump wants to create far into the future, and it's why we have to do everything we can to resist it.
This is the moment to fight back. Yes, the part we're talking about is healthcare for millions of people, but it's really about standing up and saying, we've had enough.
That's right.
We are not handing our country over to someone who makes all his own decisions and thinks the only 2 functions of government are to enrich himself personally and use the tools of government to get back against what he thinks are his enemies.
It's so important for us all to remember that he is not as strong as he wants us to believe that he is, and that we have so much more strength if we use our strength, if we use our power, and that is what this fight is about.
The American people are overwhelmingly on our side, including Republicans.
Yeah.
So we're going to win this thing. We're going to win this thing if we stay strong. That's us, that's the American people.
I'm here to tell you how grateful I am for what you're doing, and really to tell you that I want to be your partner in all things. We've got an opioid crisis, a substance use crisis in this country. Twin pillars that are deeply interconnected, but that are really going to take us coming together, because our lives have all been touched by this. We've got to remember that shared challenge, and that's what you show us every day in the work that you do. These challenges and the work that you do genuinely bring us together. To me, there is so much more that unites us than divides us, but at the end of the day, we have got to protect the institutions that are doing the best that they can, and it goes from our school nurses to our critical access hospitals. We're delivering the care that our kids and our communities need when they need it and where they need it, and that's the principle I'm trying to bring here.
Joining me now to discuss this further is New York Congresswoman and the House Ways and Means Committee member, Claudia Tenney. Congresswoman, thanks for joining us today. Do you have any sense that there's some movement here, or do we expect this shutdown to go on much longer?
Well, we were hoping it would be done sooner. The Democrats want to inflict as much pain as possible on American families. The Republicans want to continue with their levels of spending. By the way, the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have voted on these funding levels with continuing resolutions 13 times before. They voted, I believe, 7 times now. There's going to be another vote Tuesday. We're concerned, obviously, that we're going to continue to have issues with our troops being paid. Republicans have, signed on to many bills that would guarantee that our troops get paid, our Homeland Security officials get paid, our air traffic controllers. But Democrats like Chuck Schumer have famously said, we're winning this now because the American families are suffering, and they think that they're going to call uncle on us. They've heard as long as we'll wait until planes fall from the sky before we stop. And I think that just shows the bad leadership on the Democratic side, the weakness of New York City leadership that are actually controlling the entire nation of Democrats on their side. Their leaders are all from New York City, all afraid of the very far left, which is gaining support, obviously with the advent of likely winner of the New York City mayoral race, Zohran Mamdani, self-proclaimed socialist, Marxist-derived type of guy, anti-Semitic, anti-police, incarceration. Nobody's guilty of anything, and promising the world a socialist, utopia to people who are naive, and they're worried about that. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a direct threat to Chuck Schumer. Because of this controversy in New York City and this Democratic Socialists of America kind of uprising, you're seeing now even Hakeem Jeffries has a primary challenge from the far left. So they're all about politics over the people that they claim to represent. And it doesn't matter how much they hurt the American people. They're going to continue this. And of course, they're planning a huge rally in D.C. to bring their Antifa and their No Kings rally people to come in and talk about more socialism, more of the things that Americans reject. And what's interesting, Rich, is that it's almost 70% now of the Americans' population don't want the shutdown, and 65% of Democrats persistently do not want the Democrats to shut the government down.
The Democrats still aren't voting for what's known as a clean CR. It's basically opening the government for a short term so that you guys can negotiate. But there is an item in the Wall Street Journal saying that the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, is asking the White House to sort of avoid some of the more, I guess, painful things that a government shutdown can do, mass layoffs, sharp cuts to government assistance. The White House does have some leeway. Remember, the Obama administration put fencing around monuments and did what it had to do to say, look at what the Republicans are doing when they shut down the government. Thune is asking the White House to lay off a little when it comes to those effects. What do you think?
Look, I think it's interesting that under Obama and when the Democrats control the White House, their mission, just like the Democrats in the House and Senate, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, is to inflict as much pain on the American people to move them to their side. We don't operate like hostage taking in that way on the Republican side, but we are facing what we're spending $7 trillion a year and only taking in $5 trillion a year with a 37 trillion and growing deficit in the United States, which is dangerous. It's existential. And we have that $5 trillion is the most we've ever taken in the history of the United States in terms of what we bring in through the Treasury and IRS, and even including the tariffs that President Trump has used to actually to help our WIC recipients and others, found a way to help them. But I think what my concern is on this, and what I think that the president is looking at and what we've suggested, there are a number of programs on the federal side, including jobs, that are not authorized, but they're still being paid. The mission of those federal jobs is over, but there are still people sitting in those jobs. We're looking at places where we can, fill those gaps and make those cuts without harming, the economy and the growth and everything that the working families tax cuts is bringing to the economy.
Congresswoman, we do have some breaking news we have to get to. I'm going to have to cut you up there. I'm so sorry, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Our National Guard is not a toy for Abbott or Trump to play with. It serves a critical mission of keeping Texans safe. Earlier this year, we learned and were reminded yet again of how critical the National Guard's real mission is. When floods hit Travis County and the Hill Country, it was Texas Guardsmen who rescued over 500 victims. We should not need reminding. Our National Guard and all of our armed services have a real and a vital mission. It is wrong for Donald Trump and Greg Abbott to distract from the Guard's real mission, preparing for our real needs to keep us safe.
I take a step aside here, there is quite a bit of military members and their families in line because of this government shutdown.
We're already seeing paychecks missed, soldiers lining up at food kitchens. Are you concerned that this fight for health care that Democrats are waging here might end up hurting Americans?
Republicans aren't even serious about paying our active duty troops.
They have voted for temporary government funding legislation.
Today's National Coming Out Day, and living your life authentically and openly is the best thing to do to make sure that you can, one, fully enjoy your life, and two, have the rights and equality that you deserve. So feel free to be who you are and be yourself and celebrate National Coming Out Day.
This is a Democrat shutdown.
$1.5 trillion on a woke wish list. It's not going to happen.
The American people don't want us to do that.
The Democrats want a shutdown. They think that their friends in the liberal media are going to convince the American people that this shutdown is a result of Republicans, when everyone knows that Democrats are voting against it just to oppose Donald Trump.
Republicans voted to keep the government open. The Democrats voted no because they want to pander to the progressive radical left.
This Hispanic Heritage Month, I have one thing to say. We're not going anywhere.
Wow. Clashes on Capitol Hill over the government shutdown, now in day 11. But instead of fixing the problem, Democrats are just casting blame. Here to react is West Virginia Congressman Riley Moore. Congressman, so great to have you. What should we know about this shutdown? How can we get it to end? And I'm also hearing that maybe they want to just keep it open or keep it closed because of a rally that they're having, a No Kings rally on Tuesday. What's going on?
Now, Rachel, you got it exactly right, is that the timing does line up with this No Kings rally, which is going to be October 18th, which is the most radical left contingent within the Democrat Party. This is like the pro-Hamas crew and the Antifa guys and everything else. So tells you who's kind of leading policy in the party at this current time. So that's October 18th. I don't think that they're going to come to any type of conclusive decision as it relates to reopening the government before they bow down to their left flank there. But look, this is very simple. This is a clean CR. They have voted for this clean CR multiple times. We just passed it in March. Everything else that they're talking about is all just games. It's just games. It's all just political games. If they want to negotiate and talk about these other things, open the government. Very simple. And we got a bipartisan group of senators that are trying to open the government. 3 Democrats have voted for this. Almost every Republican has voted for this, and it's already passed the House. This is a very simple calculation. And their version of the CR would cost us $1.5 trillion, giving free health care to illegal immigrants. You don't believe that? Go to speaker.gov, page 57, section 2141. You can read it for yourself. It's all there in black and white. Don't believe the lies that are out there right now on this thing. Very simple. Just vote yes, reopen the government.
Wow. It's hard to believe that there's a party that would close down our government in order to pay for the health care for illegals. Just remarkable stuff. I want to move to something else because you've become a really powerful voice. Speaking for very vulnerable Christians around the world who have been prosecuted. It's absolutely alarming what's happening, especially in Nigeria. I want to give some of these stats and then have you come around and tell us what our country can do to stop this. 18,000 churches have been burned down since 2009. 50,000 Christians have been killed since 2009, and 5 million have been displaced. Just this year alone, 7,000 have been killed. We're talking about, of course, Christian persecution in just Nigeria, but around the world, Christians are the most persecuted religion on the face of the earth. What can we as Americans do? What can our government do to stop this?
Well, Rachel, it is a tragedy what is happening in Nigeria, and as you mentioned, other places in the world. But as it relates to Nigeria, I just sent a letter to Secretary Marco Rubio to designate Nigeria a country of particular concern. Now, what that means in practice and what that does is specifically one of the things it will do is limit security assistance and restrict and restrain security assistance to Nigeria. What does that mean? That means arms sales, train and equip, and a lot of these training programs that we're doing with Nigeria, with the promise that they were going to go out and eliminate Boko Haram, which is one of the groups that are killing Christians in Nigeria. There's 3 groups really in all that are doing this, Boko Haram being one, IS Africa, which is ISIS aligned, and then the Fulanis, who are also part of this, which that's where you see a lot of this indiscriminate killing. There's also a letter that's been put forward by Senator Ted Cruz to ask to do the exact same thing. But I do want to point something out. President Trump had done this in his first term.
Yes.
President Biden took this designation off. And so what we're asking is for this designation to be put back on, because it did have an effect at preventing killings of Christians.
Yeah, of course. And then the American taxpayers don't want to be complicit in the murdering of Christians in Nigeria or anywhere in the world. And so, yes, if that government's not protecting Christians, we should not be giving them any money or any assistance and training. Please stay on this, Congressman. You've been a powerful voice. God bless you for that. And I hope we get a very large caucus involved. This is a very important issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. God bless.
You got it.
Hey, I'm Suhas Subramanyam from Virginia, and this is Yasmin Ansari from Arizona. And one of the things people aren't talking about is the fact that your colleague, Ms. Grijalva from Arizona, has still not been sworn in. She'd be the 218th signature to put a vote on the floor about the Epstein files. And we could be having this swearing in and this vote right now, even during a shutdown, right?
Yeah, she was elected more than 2 weeks ago. Mike Johnson has been blatantly delaying her swearing in, coming up with so many lies or avoiding the question altogether because he wants to be further covering up the Epstein files. What a discharge petition means, I know sometimes for folks who aren't in Congress, if she signs the petition, which we know she would, it would force Mike Johnson to bring this to the floor of the House of Representatives, which means that every single Republican and Democrat would have to go on the record about whether or not they support having these files released.
And for any reference, when the Republicans had special elections and won them, they got sworn in the next day, right?
Yeah.
So it's been 2 weeks now, and Arizona has not had a vote in Congress in that district because they refused to swear.
It's insane. It's the most egregious thing. It's anti-democratic. It's voter suppression. It is a cover-up of the Epstein files. We are going to continue to say strongly to Mike Johnson, swear her in, release the files.
And end the shutdown.
End the shutdown.
Today is day 11 of Trump's shutdown. I'm here ready to negotiate. My Republican colleagues are not.
No, Speaker Johnson, the No Kings rally on October 18th is not a hate America rally. In fact, it's quite the contrary. It's a love America rally. It's a rally of millions of people all over this country who believe in our Constitution, who believe in American freedom, and are not going to let you and Donald Trump turn this country into an authoritarian society. It's a group of people who are disgusted that you and your friends want to double healthcare premiums in this country and take healthcare away from 15 million Americans. The right to protest is what America is about. You are not going to stop us.
Hi, everyone. It's week 2 of the shutdown. Because of the Republicans' refusal to protect healthcare and lower costs, and Speaker Mike Johnson's canceling and refusing to call Congress back to work, the government is closed and millions of families are paying the price. At a time when families are struggling to afford groceries, rent, and childcare, Republicans are ripping away access to healthcare and nutrition programs like the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, or WIC, threatening the well-being of nearly 7 million pregnant women, infants, and young children. WIC could run out of money at any time now. That means no infant formula, no nutritious food, no health screenings for those who need it most. So let me be clear. WIC is not a luxury. It's a lifeline. I'm calling on Speaker Johnson and House Republicans. Come back to work. End the shutdown. Open the government. Protect health care. Lower costs and stop playing games with people's lives.
Who imagined that an American president would tell a gathering of generals that American cities should be used as training grounds for the U.S. military to fight the enemy from within? Well, I'm not sure who they are exactly referring to as the enemy from within, but we can pretty much guess it's people with brown skin. I think when a tyrant tells you they're going to do something, you should take it seriously. I don't think this president has any qualms about doing. I think he feels untethered from the facts and the law.
Iowa, the impact of the Schumer shutdown of the federal government is already being felt across our state, including for our 15,000 Iowa National Guardsmen, 2,000 of whom are forward deployed, who are about to miss their next paycheck. Look, here's the reality. If our troops aren't getting paid, members of Congress shouldn't be getting paid either. It's why I've deferred my own paycheck. But I've also worked to make sure that we pass the Pay Our Troops Act to help those members and their families on the home front get the pay they've earned. But this impact is even larger than that. It means that families are facing a financial cliff, a food desert, real challenges in getting the support they need. It's why I spent time in Iowa this week talking directly with our air traffic controllers, our TSA agents, and families who are in need of support. Together, we can work to make sure that we pay their bills just by opening up the government. This is something that taxpayers deserve. It's something that Iowa earned.
Federal troops are barred from participating in civilian law enforcement, except in extremely, extremely narrow circumstances. And so this is part of our American tradition that really sees military interference in civilian affairs as a threat to our democracy. And to our personal liberty, to our freedoms that are detailed very clearly by our founding framers. The DC court said, by unlawfully deploying National Guard troops and by threatening to deploy the Guard to every state at his whim, the president has attacked state sovereignty, harmed local jurisdictions, and made us less safe. So judge after judge is giving these determinations. Now, of course, the danger here is if this goes to the Supreme Court, any other Supreme Court, I would say nobody's going to misinterpret what the Constitution says about this. This Supreme Court, I don't know. But what I do want you to know is that we are ready here in Seattle. We are ready in Washington State. We want to show that Seattle is safe. We don't need the National Guard to come in here and protect us. We do damn well protecting everybody in our communities.
We're entering week 2 of the Republicans' federal government shutdown, and we haven't voted in the House since September 19th. Mike Johnson says there's nothing left to do. But without action, millions of Americans will see their health insurance premiums jump by as much as 114%, because Republicans want to strip away the tax credits that are helping people buy insurance under the exchange. We can't afford to sit around and do nothing. Mike Johnson needs to bring the House back to address the healthcare crisis of Republicans' making.
The truth is that radical Islamic extremists want every single freedom-loving American dead. Bottom line. They have proven over and over again that they are willing to do whatever it takes to kill just one American citizen, whatever it takes. And it isn't just happening overseas. It has been allowed to fester and is alive and well in our very own country, just waiting for the right opportunity to attack. It's coming.
You outline there on that calendar just how many days MAGA Republicans have not been working, and you showed July when they fled with the Epstein files. Offensive's not even the word. I searched for it, but let me toss it over to you. How do you even make sense of this moment?
Yeah, I think Mike Johnson is a little bit in a bubble, an information bubble, and he's getting praised by the people that he's seeking praise from. But I think the thing about this shutdown is people know exactly what it's about. They know that we're fighting to prevent 114% increase in healthcare premiums for about 22 million Americans. And, that's just the people who are on the ACA marketplace. There are, basically the rest of us who are not on the ACA exchange who are going to pay the increased costs as a result of healthcare everywhere becoming more expensive. And so we're just saying, like, can we help to avert this catastrophe? And in any functioning government, if you had a catastrophe where tens of millions of Americans were facing these precipitous price increases, both parties would just get together and cut a deal. Mike Johnson has no idea how to cut a deal. John Thune, I think, is still working on that skill. And I think different than in Trump 1.0, Trump really views himself as an elected monarch, and he finds the legislature to be annoying and to be a nuisance and to be people who should just shut up and get in line. And I think so part of this is about the healthcare piece. It's definitely the driving issue for all of us that unites people across the country and unites Democrats. But it's also a broader issue, which is, we represent, let's say, at least in the last election, half the country, slightly less than half the country. Obviously, we lost the presidential and all the rest of it. But even if you suppose that we represent 48% of Americans, we are out of power, but we should not be considered powerless. And to the extent that the Senate is supposed to work a certain way, we're not without leverage here. And we're not using our leverage for some sort of weird, issue that we cooked up in a lab. We're not using our leverage to just make trouble. We're using our leverage to try to make sure that we prevent a real thing from happening to people. And I have to tell you, everywhere I go, I've unfortunately been in Washington and not in Hawaii for now several weeks, but everywhere I go, people come up to me and say, "Hey, my sister wanted me to tell you thank you. My cousin, they just got their letter and their rates are going up 112%. So keep fighting." And I think that's why we've got the moral clarity and the political unity that we need to win this fight.
Mi cariño siempre eterno a María Corina Machado. Ustedes tienen lo que le gustaría a mucha gente en la América Latina tener, que es el Simón Bolívar de estos tiempos. Eso es ella. Créanme, ustedes son privilegiados en tener a alguien tan auténtico y tan valiente y tan entregado a la causa. ¡Wow! Mis felicitaciones a los venezolanos por tener a alguien tan valiente como ella.
On Friday, Democrats tried unsuccessfully to pass your legislation ensuring active duty troops get paid during this shutdown. Republicans blocked it, gaveling the session to a close before Democrats could use unanimous consent to pass the bill. Now, today, President Trump is saying he's having the Pentagon make payroll next week using funds available in the executive branch. What's your reaction to all of this tonight?
We're a bit concerned about where these funds are coming from or how long they will last. It would be a much cleaner, easier thing to pass the Pay Our Military Act that we attempted to get passed on Friday, rather than this short-sighted action from the president. We need to get back to work. Speaker Johnson sent his members home on vacation. They've been there for several weeks, and we've been doing the work of the American people.
It's critical that we get Ghislaine Maxwell in front of the committee. She's answered Tony Blanche's questions, basically Donald Trump's former personal lawyer's questions. It is time for her to answer our questions. And we understand that she probably wants a pardon. We understand she's going to want to say things to make Donald Trump happy. We understand. But at the end of the day, it is important that we hear from her and that she answer questions directly in a way that we can hold her to the truth. And I'll say one other thing, which I think is important in this moment. The reason why we need the Epstein files and the DOJ has to release the whole files is because we need to take the information that's in those files and documents, and I understand photos and other artifacts, and then use those to ask the questions, to build the case, to understand that we're actually getting facts from the witnesses and from folks like Maxwell. And so a big part of them stalling this is when we go through these depositions, they don't want us to have all the information. And so again, this is a White House cover-up. Let's be crystal clear.
I can tell you this, those of us on the president's enemies list, and it is a long and growing list, will not be intimidated. We will not be deterred. We will do our jobs. We will stand up to this president. And I would also say to my other colleagues across the aisle that this president's animosity, his vengeance, his disregard for the democracy that has been our proud legacy will not protect you from the president's vengeance. He wants you to know that.